Hey everyone, it's Juliet Vorster coming to you again for our daily videos. And today it's all about forgiveness. I've been blessed to be part of a summit that's taking place all day today, and even if you've missed the beginning of it or if you're picking this up on a different day, this summit, which is a focus on forgiveness summit, it's being hosted by reclaimjoy.com and Tracy Brown, who's the CEO of that organization. And I've already been involved in a 1-hour call today to speak to this idea of forgiveness, of how we develop an attitude of it and how we actually get into it. So I wanted to give you a little bit of insight on what Tracy and I discussed on our call, and also to tell you about the availability of this, that you can listen not just to me but to Tracy and a number of other great speakers who are going to address different elements of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, a 4-step process to get through the early stages of forgiveness. All of these different tools are coming to you from this Focus on Forgiveness Summit that's happening live today, but it doesn't matter when you're picking up this video. You can follow the links that I'll post below and you can join in with this summit. You can listen to it, and Tracy has a VIP program coming up later in this month that you can actually get into. And if forgiveness is an opportunity for you, if you really recognize that there are some areas in your life where if you got into forgiveness it would really help you, then that might be worth thinking about. So follow that link. When you get to the end of the video, follow the links that are below and you can dive into that and look at forgiveness in a deeper way. Now, the most important thing that came out for Tracy and I as we were in our conversation is the recognition that forgiveness has got nothing to do with that other person. Forgiveness is a gift that you give to you. It doesn't matter who you're forgiving, whether you're forgiving yourself or whether you're forgiving somebody else, but it's still a gift to you. Because the chances are the other person or people or organization that's involved in that situation that you're not forgiving, they've probably just moved on with their life. They're probably making up a whole different set of stories all about their stuff, whereas you're the one that's still suffering, still stuck in a situation of unforgiveness. It's just creating dis-ease and disharmony in your world, in your life. And so just recognizing that, just having that moment to think, oh, let me think about forgiveness differently. Let me know that it's not about getting revenge. It's not about anything other than letting yourself off the hook, setting yourself free. Because every time you go into that story, you remember that incident where you were hurt or you were ignored or you felt slighted and you felt like you had something against somebody else. Every time you remember that and you revisit it, it's affecting your body now. Our minds don't know the difference between something that's happening right now in front of us and something that happened a week, a month, a year, 2 decades ago. When we remember, when we bring something into our minds now, our body feels it now. And so if we're creating negative emotions in our body by remembering these things where we're holding a grudge, where we're feeling hurt, where we're still in that old story, our body is feeling that now. And if you're looking for relief, if you're looking to feel less pain in your body, if you're looking for a deeper sense of peace and connection in your life generally, it could be that you have some opportunity around forgiveness. It could be that you're still holding on to old stuff that isn't serving you. And so for me, step 1 of forgiveness is that alchemy of a willingness. You may not know how you might go about forgiving that person, particularly if it's a really profound violation, if it's a deep wound. But if you could be willing, if you could simply be willing to forgive, if you could be willing to be willing to be willing to forgive, it doesn't matter how many willingnesses you have to put in front of it, but if you can open a space in your beingness, in your heart and in your mind, to allow other things to come forth. Perhaps it might be this Tele-summit, perhaps it might be a book or a workshop or a class. But when you set that intention of willingness, even if you don't know what the journey is or even how to get started, willingness is your first step. Willingness gets you on that journey and gets you started. So I invite you today to contemplate those hurts, those slights, the things that you're holding on to, and think about those. Could I be willing to forgive? And then be okay with yourself if your first answer is no, hell no, I can't forgive. And then take a breath. And then think about that from a new perspective. Could I be willing to be compassionate to myself and to set myself free from this pain? When you take away the word forgiveness and when you give it a different context, when you give it a different set of words, can you find yourself in a place where you might be able to say yes? Or at least, even if you're not sure, you could be more willing to say yes. So that's the message for today. Be willing to forgive, because it's going to set you free. It really isn't about that other person. It also isn't about saying what anybody else did to you is okay. Because at the moment, you're the only one that's suffering from that. You're the only one that's telling those stories in your body, and every time, every cell of your body is feeling that. It's creating dis-ease, it's creating inflammation, it's creating increased stress, cortisol levels going through the roof. All of those things are happening when you get into those negative thoughts. And so if you could be willing, just be willing to be willing to be willing to forgive, that's a starting place. That's the first point. And from there, just know and trust that as you follow the links following this video, or as you find out more about forgiveness in general, the universe, in its infinite intelligence, will support your intention. If you are willing to say, yes, I'll step into this journey of forgiveness, then this infinite thing called life, it will support you and it will bring you everything you need. I send you all my love. I look forward to seeing you again soon.